In the last 500 years, Filipinos have fought for freedom, unity, and equality. We have made our mark in many fields, from science and medicine to culture and the arts. We are beacons of creativity, resourcefulness, resiliency, and compassion. In 2021, the Filipino people will join the world in commemorating one of the greatest achievements of mankind, the first circumnavigation of the world. We celebrate this historic achievement by bannering an important message. Over adversity and struggles, we shall triumph, putting humanity first, always.
Good afternoon to all our live viewers. Welcome to the Kilapsaw 3.0 Women+Water. This is the last part of our lecture series focused on women and fire prevention. March marks the National Fire Prevention and Awareness Month. That is why we invited the female officer from the Bureau of Fire and Protection to share her knowledge and expertise on fire service. Our research speaker is the Chief of the Retirement and Benefits Administrative Service of the Bureau of Fire and Protection. She entered the fire service since April 1996 up to present, a graduate of AB Philosophy and BS Public Safety. She also took the master's degree on management, major on public administration, and master's in public safety administration. She is also the national guard focal person of the Bureau of Fire and Protection. She also recognized for various awards such as Medalya ng Katapatan ng Paglilingkod, Medalya ng Kasanayan, Medalya ng Papuri, Medalya ng Paglilingkod, Medalya ng Pagtulong sa mga nasalanta, Medalya ng Kagalingan at Medalya ng Mabuting Asal. She was also received commendations from the Presidential Awards by President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, Certificate of Commendation from the Chief of BFP, OSEC Academic Awards, and MPSA Academic Excellence and Unit Organizational Award. Without further ado, our speaker for this afternoon, Superintendent ALMA G Abakahin. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Ma'am Kai. Good afternoon, everybody. First and foremost, thank you for that colorful and generous introduction. Can I share now my video? Mhm. At the onset, I would like to say thank you to the National Historical Commission of the Philippines, coordinated by Ms. Kai, and also to Junel, no, for this event, uh, which is sponsored by MED, no, Museo El Deposito of the National Historical Commission of the Philippines, entitled Kilapsaw 3 Women and Water. Very fitting on our celebration because the BEP primary source of response material is water, no, in responding our fire emergency. So napakaganda ng tandem. So I would like also to thank you the presence of staff of National Historical Commission of the Philippines, then members of Girl Scout of the Philippines, and teachers, public and private, who answered the call of listening to our program today. And most importantly, I would like to say thank you to our Bureau of Fire Protection Chief, Director Jose is Imbang Jr., for giving me a chance of presenting the Bureau of Fire Protection entitled Women in Action, for authorizing this activity. And also, I would like to say thank you to all my colleagues and friends from the Bureau of Fire Protection, also for linking to our Zoom webinar. Special mention to my classmates, Fire District to Commander Senior Superintendent Rachel Verbo, and National Fire Training Institute Director Senior Superintendent Belinda Ochave. My classmate also in Cagayan de Oro ay hindi ko na nakita sa screen natin. Superintendent Richard Arbutante, Other officers in the Bureau of Fire Protection, thank you for coming. Now, I would present to you the female version of the Bureau of Fire Protection. No, so um, I would like to start by saying that it is true that in every man's success, there's a woman behind. And in Bureau of Fire Protection, it is also true that in every woman's success, there's a man who gives way. Okay? Also, given that premise, I would now present to you Bureau of Fire Protection Women in Action. History and other significant events of the fire service. How the Bureau of Fire Protection come into being. No? So, we have our humble beginning as far as the 1900s. No? So, in 1901, August 7 of 1901, the Manila Fire Department was established during the American occupation as part of Department of Streets, Park, Fire, and Sanitation. So it was located in Metro Manila, our first fire department. So during the occupation of the American government, no, in the Philippines. So years passed. In 1935, on October 1935, the first Filipino fire chief in the person of Captain Lorenzo Jacinto was appointed and began the American policy to transfer the reign of responsibility to Filipinos. So of course, our fire district offices and station multiplied. So it begins now the Filipino it begins the tasking of pure-blooded Filipino to man the BFP stations and fire departments. No, so this was also the time where the transition from American government to Japanese government took place. So medyo magulo itong time na to, but then we survived, no? Then more than 30 years passed. President Ferdinand E. Marcos in 1967 issued proclamation number 115-A on November 17, 1967, making the month of March and every year thereafter as the observance of Fire Safety Month. Well, practically speaking, Fire Safety Month is held every March of every year because of the fact that it is not only that month of March has a high rate of fire incidents or fire occurrence, a high number of occurrence of fire incidents. Also, it is the hottest month of the year. No, in fact, as a coincidence, our women observance of Women's Month also happened in the month of March, because the history behind the Women's Month also due to the occurrence also of a fire incident that took place in New York, where 120 women, no, who were working at a shirt factory in New York had been victimized by a fire incident to the extent that they became known throughout the world, because at that time the popular activity at the time is voicing out, no, the conditions of women who are working in this area of profession. No, so at the time mahirap ang kanilang kalagayan, their rights were not being observed, their working conditions are not so conducive, very hazardous. So there are moves and protests of making their existence acceptable and comfortable, at least, no, compared to other profession in the United States. It was highlighted during the event of that tragic fire incident that women's concern had known national recognition. no? So on month of March. So in 1974, Alejandro Melchor, Executive Secretary of His Excellency Ferdinand A. Marcos, declared December 14, 1974, and every year thereafter as Fire Recognition Day. Our Fire Recognition Day was a celebration in commemoration of also of a tragic fire incident that happened in Rockwell, Makati, where an explosion of a gas company occurred, leaving 3 firefighters dead in that tragic incident. So in that commemoration, we celebrated our Fire Recognition Day every year. And also to recognize the heroic deeds of our Filipino firefighters, so also offer their sacrifices, even sacrificing their lives in order to serve our countrymen. So in 1975, integration of the local fire department in the city municipality police forces under National Police Organization called Philippine Constabulary Integrated National Police, a major service of the armed forces of the Philippines. Before, armed forces of the Philippines has 4 branches of service. Now we have the Philippine Army, Philippine Navy, Philippine Air Force, and the PCINP. Now, PCINP performs the law enforcement function, but they are one of the major service of the armed forces of the Philippines. Now, the Bureau of the Fire Service is under in that department. In 1977, our Fire Code of the Philippines, through promulgation of Presidential Decree 1185, had been completed and publicized, and also the creation of, it was also the year where our anti-arson task force under PCINP had been also organized. In 1990, Republic Act number 6975, it is the ILG Act of 1995, 1990, our Local Government Act, was enacted establishing a separate Fire Protection Bureau designated to be a national in scope and civilian in character. So as we all know, our Republic Act 6975 is what we popularly known as the ILG Act. This promulgated, or this is the authority that created our Department of Interior and Local Government. In 1991, August 2, 1991, considered as the inaugural date of the Bureau of Fire Protection. Inaugural date of Bureau of Fire Protection official function, which is marked by its preparation of operation plans and budget as a distinct agency of the government with an organizational structure recognized by the Department of Budget and Management. So on this particular date, the Bureau of Fire Protection was literally born and is recognized by the Department Budget and Management as a distinct and separate agency or bureau from the Bureau of Fire, PCINP, transferring to under the DILG. For a while. In 2004, March 10, 2004, RA number 9263 was enacted. This is an act which provides for the professionalization of the Bureau of Fire Protection and the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, amending certain provisions of Republic Act number 6975, providing funds thereof and for other purposes. What is prominent in this law is that before, if we all know, the Bureau of Fire Protection accepted applicants, even those who have only 72 units in college. No, after the passing of this law, hindi na pwede yun. We preferred at least those who are graduate of a 4-year course and ineligible of his or her own profession, no, or field of interest. And in 2008, December 19, 2008, Republic Act number 9514 was enacted, an act establishing a comprehensive fire code of the Philippines, repealing Presidential Decree number 1185. This act shall be known as the Fire Code of the Philippines of 2008. So we have a new Fire Code of the Philippines, an amendment of the old one. In August 2, 2015, BFP Operational Procedures Manual was launched during the celebration of the BFP anniversary. So in 2018, November 27, the BFP was ISO certified, in terms of its fire safety enforcement processes. We already passed ISO 9001 2015. Then in 2019, October 18, 2019 to be exact, we published the implementing rules and regulation of RA 9514. I am sorry na medyo na-disturb ako in my presentation. Maraming nagpa-pop out sa Facebook. Kaya hindi ko mabasa. So we will proceed to our vision and mission. The Bureau of Fire Protection has this vision to become a modern fire service fully capable of ensuring a fire-safe nation by 2034. So what is that fully capable of ensuring a fire-safe nation? So it literally means that we are targeting a zero fire incident given the opportunity to become modernized. And as our mission, the BFP commits to prevent and suppress destructive fires, investigates its causes, enforce fire code and other related laws, respond to man-made and natural disasters and other emergencies. I would like to invite your attention that the BFP has 4 core mission, 4 pillars of its mission. One is to suppress destructive fires or fire suppression, investigate its causes, fire investigation, enforce fire code and other related laws. So we have fire safety enforcement, and respond to man-made and natural disasters and other emergencies. So these are all the scope of the function of women also in the Bureau of Fire Protection. The females in the Bureau of Fire Protection are distributed in the 4 core functions. So I will proceed now to the presentation of our legal mandate. Specifically, the BFP is mandated as it was created by virtue of Republic Act 6975, or the ILG Act. We are mandated under that law to be responsible for the prevention and suppression of all destructive fires. This is our first mission. So it covers all buildings, houses, and other structures, forests, land transportation vehicles and equipment, ships and vessels docked at piers or wharves, anchored in major seaports, petroleum industry installations, plane crashes, and other similar activities. Now, I would just like to emphasize to our audience, especially those who do not belong to the organization of the BFP, that this covers all buildings, houses, and other structures, all persons to abide the, uh, the safety requirements of the law before and after the promulgation of this code. Ang ibig sabihin noon, when the code, the Fire Code of the Philippines was implemented, all citizens, all establishment, all operations are required to observe, comply, and and coordinate with respect to the fire safety requirements of the code. Number two, be responsible for the enforcement of the Fire Code of the Philippines and other related laws. Ito na yung ating Fire Code of the Philippines, which talks about the responsibility, administration, and enforcement of our safety requirements in the Republic of the Philippines. No? Number three, shall have the power to investigate all causes of fires and, if necessary, file the proper complaint with the city or provincial prosecutor who has jurisdiction over the case. So there are some issues in the past before that the Bureau of Fire Protection's investigating team were not allowed to investigate a certain or a specific fire incident that was just a product of unclear understanding, no? Especially those establishments located in PEZA, no, in economic zones. So yun ang nagiging popular na discussion in the past years na hindi pinapa-investigate ang Bureau of Fire Protection. Now at this point in time, that is already amended. So nagkakaroon na ng agreement ang Bureau of Fire Protection and also other government agencies and GOCCs, local government, private institution that to observe this provision, that the Bureau of Fire Protection has all the power to investigate all causes of fires and if necessary, file the appropriate complaint. No? Then also number four, mandate of the BFP is in time of national emergency, all elements of the BFP shall upon direction of the President assist the AFP in meeting the national emergency. So perhaps this is the reason why the present administration, thanks to our beloved President of the Republic of the Philippines, for his declaration of arming the Bureau of Fire Protection. So this is a welcome development for the Bureau of Fire Protection because in my own opinion, not the opinion of the Bureau of Fire Protection, if we need to strengthen our armed forces of the Philippines so that we also invite or we also recognize or accredit the services of our civilian volunteers like the CAFBUs, no, and other TANODs. Why not the Bureau of Fire Protection, who originally belongs to the Armed Forces of the Philippines? So that is only my own opinion. Then in number five, shall establish at least one fire station with adequate personnel, firefighting facilities, and equipment in every provincial capital, city, and municipality, subject to standard rules and regulations as may be promulgated by the Department of Interior and Local Government. So, dapat lahat ng cities and municipalities in the Philippines ay magkakaroon ng fire station, at least one fire station, which is it's not yet realized. So the BEP is in constant um, uh, we are exerting all our efforts, our our developing our own initiative in order to realize this mandate. No? Okay, now we will come to the specific role of women in fire prevention awareness. So, as mandated in our Republic Act 9514 or the Fire Code of the Philippines, the personnel of the Bureau of Fire Protection are responsible in the administration and enforcement of fire safety prevention and awareness in the Philippines. No? So I deem it appropriate to present this presentation in a form of, or present the role of women in a form of pictorial presentations so that it can be easily understood, easily internalized kung makikita natin ang activities involving our women in firefighting. No, so, before that, I would like to emphasize that in the observance and in the implementation of our fire safety prevention, it is declared in Section 2 of this code that it is the policy of the state to ensure public safety, promote economic development through the prevention and suppression of all kinds of destructive fires, and promote the professionalization of the fire service as a profession. Towards this end, the state shall enforce all laws, rules, and regulation to ensure adherence to standard fire prevention and safety measures, and promote accountability in the fire protection and prevention service. In short, lahat po ng mamamayang Pilipino ay kasama, hamig, kasapi in the observance and in the implementation of this code. So this is it. It covers the following. Letter A, all persons. Letter B, all private or public buildings, facilities or structure under premises erected or constructed before and after the effectivity hereof. C, design and installation of mechanical, electronics, and electrical system relative to fire protection. D, manufacturing, storage, handling, and or use and transportation of explosives and or combustible, flammable liquids and gases, toxics and other hazardous materials and operations and their waste. Letter E, for safety planning, design, construction, repair, maintenance, rehabilitation, and demolition. Letter F, fire protective and warning equipment or systems. Letter G, all land transportation vehicles and equipment, ships or vessels docked at piers or wharves or anchored in seaports and its petroleum industry installations. Why I mention these things? Because I would like you to understand what is the specific role of fire prevention personnel. No? Ano ang coverage nila, which include not only men but also women. So ito yun, ito yung, maybe you are wondering, bakit ang Bureau of Fire Protection are very busy, no? Especially kung Fire Prevention Month. Because there was a sabi-sabi, a myth in the past before that when there is no fire, the Bureau of Fire Protection personnel do nothing in their station. So wala daw ginagawa, no? Nakatambay lang, waiting for the emergency call. That is not true. No? Because besides our firefighting responsibility, we have a lot more to do in the fire prevention discipline. For all we know, I'm just certain, I just approximate maybe 70% of the activities of the Bureau of Fire Protection is focused on the prevention side, Maybe 20% is on the operation side, in the actual firefighting operation. 10% to other essential activities in support to the operation and prevention. So that is the truth that transpired in everyday um, services, public service rendered by a typical fire personnel. So let us go now to the pictorial presentation of women in the fire safety enforcement. So the role of women in fire safety enforcement are varied. One of them is the fire safety enforcers or fire safety inspectors. So um, every day, ito yung silang nagkakandak ng ng inspection in our business establishment, in our buildings, in order for that building to be compliant in our service, in our fire safety requirements. So specifically, the duties of fire safety inspectors and enforcers can be divided in the following manner. No? Letter A, inspection of any building, structure of facility, and or any part thereof, hazardous materials, to ensure compliance to the fire codes of the Philippines and other related laws. No? Other regulations, standards, and ordinances within the area of responsibility. So localized ito. Letter B, they are responsible to assist compliance with the fire safety requirements, identify and recommend corrective actions for every violation, defects, and deficiencies, and inform the owner, building administrator, or occupants of such action to comply with the provision of the Fire Code of the Philippines and its, of course, implementing rules and regulations and other related laws. Letter C, our fire safety inspectors or enforcers also is mandated to testify in any judicial and quasi-judicial bodies regarding matters relating to the Fire Code of the Philippines and or the performance of his duties related thereto when needed. They are also mandated to conduct fire safety lectures, seminars, workshops, and drills, and prepare necessary documents and maintain files and other records. So to all buildings, operators, building owners, building occupants, be reminded that you have a responsibility to coordinate with our fire safety enforcers, inspectors, whether or not your particular or your specific building that you occupy is compliant to the requirements of our fire safety laws. No, either it is a commercial, government, private, or business buildings, as the law described. All all persons and all buildings are covered in the implementation of this fire safety code. So we also have our fire safety frontline enforcers. Of course, together with our male counterparts, no, uh, our female counterparts immerse themselves in every municipal and city government buildings and offices to be in direct contact with our clientele. Now, in order to hasten, facilitate smooth and easy application of licenses, permits, and other clearances. No? So in our picture, we have there Bureau of Fire Protection in the business one-stop shop, no, operation. So during this new normal, so this event or this activity is temporarily suspended so that in application of our business licenses, permits, and other clearances, the BFP launches online application. No, so you just can browse in the internet with respect to your own locality, how to contact the Bureau of Fire Protection. For all we know, the fire safety certificate are necessary requirements in applying for building permit during the construction of your building. Then also it is used in applying for business permit, and its renewal every year. No, during business operation, you need the fire safety inspection certificate, and every year thereafter, you need fire safety inspection certificate for continuous business operation. No? So this is very important to uh, everybody who are operating uh, as who has business in the Republic of the Philippines. The only exemption to the requirements of fire safety inspection certificate is what we call the single family dwelling. So yun, pwedeng hindi na siya kukuha ng fire safety inspection certificate, but then kailangan niyang to comply also the safety requirements of the law afforded for single family dwelling structure. So we also have our plan evaluators. No? Our plan evaluators process all fire safety plan, no, submitted by applicants, facilitate its compliance, whether or not the design, the requirements, and the location, etc. Marami silang titingnan dyan, no? And other regulation which is affected by the implementation of safety are all complied, no? And is included or incorporated in the fire safety plan of our applicant. So they are the one who will process and who will recommend for approval on the application of this is a requirement in the application of fire safety evaluation certificate, no, prior to the construction of a building or a structure. Next is we have our fire safety educators. Of course, when our community, our clientele, or our neighborhood know how to be ready to defend themselves against the hazards of fire, and they know how to handle fire emergencies, so the better we will be in our community. That's why the Bureau of Fire Protection is doubling their efforts, no, in educating the public. So ginawa namin ang lahat. We touch schools and other establishments, government agencies, even those who are in distressed areas, no, yung ating mga informal settlers, by using the medium on media, personal, lahat ng means of bringing to the public how to be safe and how to comply the safety requirements on fire hazards. So ginagawa lahat yan ng ating pamatay sunog. So meron tayong Upland Ligtas na Pamayanan, which is implemented nationwide. This is a program encouraging our household, our barangay areas, our informal settlers, all sectors in the society, no, lalo na yung mga private persons, to observe fire safety readiness. So in line with that, meron din tayong another program. Itong nakita niyo itong ating disiplina muna. This is intended for government offices, the GOCCs, no, and other big buildings. So today meron tayong fire prevention theme, which is sa pag-iwas sa sunog, hindi ka nag-iisa. Truly bringing the services of the Bureau of Fire Protection to the community, encouraging them to prepare in their own capacity, be safe against the malas of fire, the destruction of fire, and other emergencies. So this is also the reason why you heard every now and then the conduct of fire drill, no, emergency drills. So in cooperation also of other agencies in the national government and local government, no, we have also our other calamity drills, no, like earthquake, typhoon, and many more, which cause or threaten the safety of our community. So as what I've said here, we task all medium of information in order to bring to the people the concern of the Bureau of Fire Protection to observe fire safety activities. So I have heard representatives from the Bureau of Fire Protection. Luckily, most of them are high-ranking female officers in the Bureau of Fire Protection who regularly conducts information drive, fire safety education to our clientele and to our community. So another responsibility of women in the fire service in support to our fire prevention activities is the fire investigation in order to avoid the recurrence and occurrence of another fire incident. There is a need for us to investigate, study, report, no, a particular occurrence of fire as to its cause and source of ignition. The main purpose of that is to prevent the same thing to happen again. So there are also women in the fire investigation. As we can see here, we, the Bureau of Fire Protection, are involved in conducting fire investigation involving tragic incidents and even vessels and other critical establishment in the country. So far, according to the internet, meron tayong 7 na pinaka-tragic incident in fire, as tragic incident in fire, no? If you can remember the MV Dunya Pass, no, a vessel which caught fire on December 29, 1987. So medyo malayo-layo na ito. Ito yung medyo madami yung casualty, no? Casualty count reached up to 4,000 casualties. Then the very popular ozone disco in 1996, where 162 casualties had been also victimized in that fire, and a lot of young people who are injured, no? And also a wig factory in Marikina in 1975, no, that caused the life of 42 people. Then Bahay Kalinga fire in 1998, which caused 28 casualty. The Hotel Manor in Quezon City in 2001 that counted 75 casualty. Then, of course, the Kentix Sleeper manufacturing fire in 2015. So that claimed 74 lives and 100 injuries. And the latest, we have the NCCC Mall in Davao City, which caused the death of 37 people. No, and okay. So on the side of investigation, we also represent in the Interagency Anti-Arson Task Force, lodged or headed by as the lead agency by the Department of Interior and Local Government. So the Interagency Anti-Arson Task Force is mandated to conduct speedy investigation of suspicious fire incidents involving government offices and heavily insured private buildings. Okay. Then we have also women in fire suppression. So as you can see here, women also plays the role of firefighter equal to their male counterparts. No, so in preparation for a firefighting operation, we have to ready our equipment, clean the surroundings of the fire station. We have to conduct training. We have to practice. We have to, of course, prepare everything. Even our engagement in official functions like parades, that is part of our stamina building preparation, no, in order for us to be fit and ready, no, physically fit and ready in facing fire emergencies and other disasters. So for the fourth pillar of function of BFP, so we have other safety emergencies. As mandated in RA 6975, no, we are a bureau mandated to create emergency medical service and rescue or rescue unit in order to respond to other emergencies, not necessarily fire operations. Just recently, this responsibility expanded when COVID emerged as a national disaster. No, prior to the emergence of COVID-19 emergency, there was threat, rumors, and even there is already a coordination, no, from the national government to establish a response team, no, to CBRN, so that National Action Plan on CBRN was adopted through Anti-Terrorism Council. The resolution number 40 with the Department of Interior and Local Government, TILG, as the lead agency. So say CBRN means chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear emergencies. No? Now, this resolution puts the Bureau of Fire Protection as the officially mandated CBRN response agency within the government of the Philippines, so that our preparation had been strengthened by this authority or mandates. So, a year after COVID-19 emerged. So, with that, our preparation did not serve futile because we then have to practice it in reality. So women together with men had been deployed to COVID-19 emergency area. No, so the entire Philippines had been traumatized by the emergence of this virus, so that the Bureau of Fire Protection, in answering to the call of emergency, had also shifted its focus. No? So we reduced our focus on operational concern, no, doon sa ating fire suppression. And majority of our forces had been focused in countering COVID-19 emergency. So in the entire country, we have a dedicated areas responded by the Bureau of Fire Protection. And in the national, Metro Manila, no, national level, we have also our participation in the interagency task force as a member of the response clusters for logistics and law and orders. No? So under the IETF mandate, the Bureau of Fire Protection is afforded the following functions. Number one, to establish the contamination at major control points and other facilities and areas identified by IETF. Number two, no, the function of BFP, what I am reading, what I am telling now is the function of BFP in COVID-19 emergency. No? So, number two, transport patients to appropriate health facilities in coordination with the Department of Health and concerned local government units. Number three, establishment of on-site triage, treatment, transport, and coordination in the different control points. Number four, assist in the contact tracing and quarantine of persons and or communities. And number five, ensure waste management of contaminated materials in coordination with DENR and EMB. So in disposing contaminated waters brought by the sanitation and cleaning operations of all exposed to COVID-19 areas. So this is one of the function of the Bureau of Fire Protection, to ensure that it is properly, safely disposed of. No? At present, we are both male and female, no, Bureau of Fire Protection are involved in contact tracing activities nationwide. So we allocated 964 personnel, contact tracer. In our mega swabbing center in Ciudad de Victoria, no, in Region 3, we have 309 swabbing personnel. 15% of them are women. In our mega quarantine facility in Philinvest, Alabang, we have 129 BFP personnel and 30% of them are women. So we also extend our assistance in DSWD sub-assistance, yung mga nag-gather, nagdi-distribute and nag-monitor sa distribution of our mga donated goods, no, sa ating mga victims. Then also other functions in assistance and in support of this national emergency. So we have 3,589 personnel dedicated for that purpose. So as you can see in our slides, we have there female, you can see also male Bureau of Fire Protection personnel together with male counterparts standing by in a checkpoint dedicated area, and also our special rescue unit conducting donning of our PPEs. no, some pictures in the actual operational activities. So besides that, as part of the regular function also of our emergency medical service, you consider the capability of our EMS, which also includes women, no, women firefighters or women emergency medical service personnel. Okay. Then in addition to those functions, we can see also women who are engaged or deployed in cleaning and clearing operation. So it is not that when you became a firefighter, you become macho girl, no? But because of the call of service, uh, we are really dedicated to engage whatever task there is, no, when the public calls for it. So kahit trabahong panlalaki, nandoon po ang ating mga kababaihan, no? Nagpapala, nagpuputol ng kahoy, naglilinis ng ating mga estero, streets and other establishments, other places, no? So another picture, women in clearing operations. So our cleaning and clearing operation before COVID time, which involved the clearing and cleaning of our Manila Bay, no? It was duplicated, no? It's also cascaded to the regional level. So our regions also conducted their own cleaning and clearing operation. So you can see there at the topmost left, no, photo, you can see a woman there smiling or laughing. She was a former regional director of the Cordillera Autonomous Region. So also involved in the cleaning operation, and I am proud to say that this activity is not only performed by our non-commissioned officer, but most of our commissioned officers, females, are also engaged in participating this activity. Then we will come to women in a special rescue unit. So as you can see there, so there are the Philippines is abundant of the natural and man-made calamities, so that our rescue personnel are honed and well-seasoned in performing their job and responsibilities as rescuers, no? So comparatively speaking to other countries, as you know, as we all know, that the Philippines is located in a ring of fire. Every now and then we have typhoons, we have earthquake, we have volcano eruptions. So we have also man-made incidents. We have everything talking about calamities and big emergencies or disasters. Meron tayo sa Pilipinas. So that I am proud to say that our fire chief, no, Director Jose is Imbang Jr. Was one of the international resource speaker, no, when it comes to CBRNE, because of his experience in the Philippines in responding to national emergencies and other incidents. No, so dahil sa dami nating na-experience, mataas ang respect ng ating other counterparts countries sa experience ng Filipino men and women rescuers. No? So you can see here the incident that happened in Baguio, no, yung recent landslide nila. So we also have some flooding incident here in Metro Manila. So with the involvement, of course, of our female SRU or Special Rescue Unit. So in addition to that, we can see here the preparation and involvement also of our women in performing special rescue operations. So as of today, the Bureau of Protection is proposing for its modernization, hoping that if it is approved, we can finally procure our own fireboat and our amphibious vehicles to strengthen really the response capability of our special rescue unit. No? So as of this time, meron lang tayo mga floating device, no? Mga bangka-bangka, mga ano, pero wala talaga tayo yung mga fully equipped and mga high-tech equipment to really indulge in a major rescue situation. So here we can see as part of the activity of SRU. So nakita natin dyan a female fire officer performing rappel, and also female fire officers join in the conduct of sanitation and disinfecting activity. This is a nationwide occurrence. No? So in the flooding response, so everywhere in the Philippines, we perform this activity as they call the Bureau of Fire Protection for help and assistance. Of course, that is part of our mandate as member of the DRRM, Disaster Risk Reduction Management Council. Okay. So now we will have, in addition to all those functions I mentioned there, we will come to the special public service activities also conducted by female firefighters. No, some of us are deployed in our OPSEN center. So our operation center during big incidents could be in Camp Rami or in Camp Aguinaldo or in any other operation centers where the management of the disaster risk reduction management is housed. So nandoon ang ating BFP representative, and even in the local operation centers meron tayong ganito, no. Most of the cities in the Philippines now are already investing a lot in trying to install their operation centers, no, para this is one way to address easily the occurrence of an emergency in locality or in national perspective level. So also we have here the support of female in the community, particularly during fire incident. So marami tayo doong mga victims of fire incidents na nawawalan ng mga bahay. So nagkakaroon tayo ng mga feeding programs. No? Then also in packing and repacking of our goods and donations coming from other agencies and private entities. No? So particularly on supplying potable water. So yun talaga ang expertise ng Bureau of Fire Protection. And of course, to also highlight the morale of our firefighting women, over and above those regular activities, we have for our physical fitness event, the women indulge in competition among themselves or against other government agencies and private sectors. So we also now in our private capacity also be able to extend our help by simply just assisting people in need of help. So nandun kami kahit hindi in line with our official duties and function. Sa anumang paraan makatulong, nandun po ang inyong Bureau of Fire Protection. So we also have other support tendered by our personnel in the administrative service, those who are making the administrative works in order to assist our people in the operation, no? So we have members of the bands, we have members of the church, etc. So marami kami diyang mga in support to the deployed personnel in the operation. So we also have here our augmentation program with the community. No, we have here our participation in every national occasion like Oplan Kaluluwa. Meron tayo dyan mga Oplan biyahe, ligtas na pagbibiyahe. No? Then we have a fire safety community during sa ating Christmas Christmas celebration sa ating mga Oplan Iwas Paputok. So marami tayong mga community engagement activities and events. No, so ito meron tayong tinatawag dito na mga involvement in the community na ginagawa namin sa mall. No, this is before the COVID-19 activities wherein the BFP personnel can still engage the community face to face. So as what I've said earlier, so we enhance this task or this activity into most of them into the internet. No, so marami kaming mga innovations at mga promotions na ginagawa sa internet where you can see the Bureau of Fire Protection advising the public, guiding them what to do in case of emergency and how to comply fire safety requirements. So marami tayo diyang mga means of information dissemination. So that was the last of my slide, and this next slide is for those who are listening, for my audience, who would like to join the Bureau of Fire Protection. So again, for this year, the regular recruitment for the Bureau of Fire Protection is already open. As you can see, we have in our advertisement, promotional videos under the Bureau of Fire Protection page in Facebook and other internet platforms. Pinopromote po namin how to join the Bureau of Fire Protection. No, so why is it that Bureau of Fire Protection is better than other uniform agencies and better than civilian profession? No, so comparatively speaking, the Bureau of Fire Protection, as what I've said in the beginning of my presentation, is that we have here our male counterparts, which are very understanding, accommodating, and guiding, as partners, to the female sector of this bureau, to the female arm of this female group of this bureau. Comparatively speaking to the other uniformed service, for example, the armed forces of the Philippines, they were created sometime in 1800s, and in reality, they just have their female generals in the last year of 2018 for the Philippine Army, 2020 for the Philippine Navy, and I have yet to research the Philippine Air Force kasi parang wala akong nakitang female general. I will stand corrected if I'm wrong, no? But for the Bureau of Fire Protection, we already have our female generals in 2018. Even if we are just created as a bureau in 1992. So as of today, we have 2 retired directors. These are they were two-star generals, no? And we have other generals who are female in the Bureau of Fire Protection. So, and also um, the Armed Forces of the Philippines have a restriction of hiring female applicants at around 10% of their total population of the applicants, no? And it is the same with the Philippine National Police. And the Bureau of Fire, no, the BGMP, I think they have restriction up to 15% of female applicants. But I'm proud to say that the Bureau of Fire Protection has no restriction at all. No, we hired female in the Bureau of Fire Protection according to our needs. In fact, we are lauded by Senator Bato. He said in one of the legislative hearing in the Senate before COVID, which I attended, that it's good for you, Bureau of Fire Protection, because you did not set quota for female. No? So wala kaming siniset na quota for females. If you are qualified and if you are serious, now you are welcome to the Bureau of Fire Protection. So this ends my presentation. And before I go, I would like to show you my last slide with a parting words that goes like this. A strong woman is one who feels deeply and loves fiercely. Her tears flow as abundantly as her laughter. A strong woman is both soft and powerful. She is both practical and spiritual. A strong woman loves, forgives, walks away, lets go, tries again, and perseveres, no matter what life at her. Now, if you want to see a strong woman, you want to become a strong woman, get the feel being a strong woman, your means is you can join the Bureau of Fire Protection. And I also congratulate other agencies and other offices for also having your own version of a strong woman. Especially to Miss Kai Oliveros. Thank you, ma'am, for this opportunity. Congratulations, all female of the National Historic Commission, for being a part of the development of this country at par and equal to our male counterparts. Thank you and good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you, Ma'am Alma.
Yes.
Thank you, Ma'am Alma, for that very inspiring words. And siguro on what you've mentioned sa discussion, mas marami tayong mai-invite at mai-encourage na mga girls and women to be part of the fire service. Tama po, ma'am? At yan,
Yes, you
bago
are
po tayo
all welcome.
mag-proceed, yan. Bago tayo mag-proceed sa ating Q&A part, batiin po muna natin yung mga kasama natin sa FB Live ngayong hapon. We have the DepEd Payo National High School of Zamboanga Sibugay Schools Division, the GSP from General Santos, from Central Zone, from Valenzuela City, GSP from North Cotabato Council, and we have the Pasay City Council, Zamboanga Sur, Quirino. We have also with us this afternoon is from the Schools Division Office of Cotabato City, GSP from Ilocos Sur Council, and also from Zamboanga Sibugay. And we have the DepEd SDO Taguig sa ngayon ng mga paaralan ng lungsod ng Taguig at Pateros, APESP Youth Formation Program Unit headed by Mr. Ferdinand Pagaw, and GSP from Batangas City, from La Union Council, Suntan Kudarat, Northern Luzon Region, Western Mindanao, Cabanatuan City, Benguet Council, Batangas Council, and we have also from Maguindanao, GSP Council. Ayan, and also Isabela. Ayan, proceed tayo ma'am to our first question from Mr. Ferdinand Pagap. What are the ways and means the Bureau is doing to entice or encourage boys, especially the girls, joining your organization as part of their career choice in the future? Ayan.
Yes. Of course, as what I've said, the Bureau of Fire Protection uh, is already professionalized. No? Gone are the days that noon tuturo lang ng ating mga sinasabi nila local government chief executives na ikaw ngayon member ka na ng Bureau of Fire Protection, no? Member ka na ng ganito. Now, we pass through merit and fitness. By saying merit and fitness, that means you should be qualified physically, mentally, and professionally. So that because mataas na ang ating requirements, mataas din ang ating sweldo. Of course, no? So, yes, mataas din ang sweldo. Standardized, yun ang pinaka-foremost concern, no, of applicants all over the country. Na in order for them to help their family, in order for them to have a financial stability, get involved, be employed in the government agency, no? Government agency. Pero I cannot say about those other government agencies. Wala akong masabi sa kanila. Ang masasabi ko lang is pertaining to the Bureau of Fire Protection. We have a very promising career here in the Bureau of Fire Protection, especially if your course is aligned with our requirements. No? Unang-una, financially, we have fulfillment. No? And hindi lang yon ang satisfaction and gratification na nakukuha mo when you love your job, when you love what you do. So iba talaga ang feelings, no? So here, the challenge of the female personnel is unlimited. No, you can be very physical, or you can be some sort of intellectual. You can go to other places. You can go abroad, yes, or you can study locally. No, you can also be interested to other profession outside your profession, the Bureau of Fire Protection. So, yes, of course, the Bureau of Fire Protection is a male-dominated organization, but it was not mentioned. It was not mentioned in the introduction. But for the information of everybody, I was a former Philippine Navy in the Armed Forces of the Philippines. I was a personnel. I transferred from the Philippine Navy going to Philippine National Police Academy with a rank of Seawoman Second, Private First Class, ang equivalent sa Army, no? So, ang nakikita ko lang kasi sa Philippine Navy, the first woman general is a friend of mine in the person of Commodore Luz Viminda Camacho. No, she retired just this year, but it was not an easy path for her. No, bago siya naging general, she became the first commander of a Philippine Navy ship. No, isang babae lang ang naging commander ng Philippine Navy ship, and also she became the first woman commander in the United Nations. Deployed in Haiti, so commanding all other nationalities there. No, so for us to become a general, hindi tayo mabibigyan ng ganyang opportunity. But in the Bureau of Fire Protection, it is competitive, no? So when you do your best, and kasi ganito yun eh. Ang Bureau of Fire Protection kasi is a newly organized bureau. It just get its status as Bureau for Protection just this 1992. So we are still expanding. We are still on the process of procuring more personnel in the Bureau of Fire, so that opportunity is very open.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for answering that question. And for our second question, how does the pandemic affect the operation of the Bureau of Fire Protection, especially on during fire suppression?
Well, of course, the onslaught of COVID-19 pandemic really put us in in our off guard position. No? So we had been conditioned the minute we enter the Bureau of Fire Protection to be ready in times of this emergency, the biological emergency, no, it's this pandemic like this. But when it arrived, iba pala talaga ang dating. No, so we are very fearful how to conduct our suppression operation. In fact, as a result of this national emergency, the operation of the Bureau of Fire Protection adjusted also. No, so here in Metro Manila, because most of the fires occurred here in Metro Manila, and because of the condition of Metro Manila, where there are a lot of mga informal settlers, no, then we are overpopulated here, so to say. The director of the National Capital Region, no, BFP director, adjusted our standard operating procedure in responding to fire emergencies. So in the past, during our first response to a call on fire emergency, meron kami tinatawag na verification stage. During sa verification stage, 4 na fire truck kaagad ang tatakbo. No? So, whether or not the fire alarm is true, sometimes meron kasing mga false caller, no? Mga prank callers. Pagdating doon, hindi pala totoong may fire incident. So, whether the alarm is true or not, pupunta kaagad for fire trucks. Binago natin yan ngayon. Ginawa nating 8 fire trucks. We doubled our effort. No? So, kung second alarm, so mas mataas another 8. So, we flood immediately our responders in a certain fire incident kasi we have to make sure na hindi na lalaki ang ating fire incident because we don't want many victims of fire incident so that they will be put in a yung temporary shelter, no, sa ating mga gymnasium, sa ating mga basketball courts and other public places. Temporarily shelter muna natin sila doon, which is very dangerous. Kaya ang ginagawa ng pamunuan ng National Capital Region, which is also cascaded to other regions in the entire Philippines, is that to double our operational capability in responding fire emergencies para mabawasan na mas marami ang ma-victimize, marami ang mawawalan ng bahay, at marami ang matutulog sa kalsada at sa open places. Ibawal natin ngayon ang public gathering, no? Paano natin ma-ensure ang ating social distancing? So that really diverted our efforts, resources, and preparation, no, sa approach na where we can combat also COVID-19, no, at the same time, no? So yun ang nangyari
Lahat
sa amin.
talaga tayo nag-a-adjust, kasi as you've mentioned, ina-avoid natin yung mas maraming magiging biktima ng sunog na magsama-sama sa iisang lugar, di ba po? Yun yung pinaprevent natin. That's why, ayan, kailangan ng double effort talaga. Opo. And final question, ma'am. How about the supply of water in the Philippines? How does it affect the services catered by the BFP? Meron po ba tayong mga water issues na nararanasan in this time of pandemic or bago nagkaroon ng pandemic?
Well, so far naman, we thank God, no, because by nature wala tayo ngayong iniinda na El Nino. Opo, so with respect to our water supply, wala naman tayong issue doon. So we are regularly supplying water to our COVID-19 dedicated places, ating mga yung ating mga areas where our personnel in COVID-19 augmented and is deployed, no, sa ating mga kakalsadahan, sa ating mga operation center. So tumutulong tayo doon, and in times of mga calamities, when we are called for to also help in the cleaning and clearing operations, so ginagamit natin ang ating mga fire truck para malinis natin agad, lalo na yung mga places where people transact business, ating mga palengke, para ito magamit
Especially
kaagad.
ma'am on disinfection, ano? Talagang
Also, and
napaka-active ng
disinfection, yes,
BFP
ng
pagdating
Bureau
sa
of Fire.
public places na
Opo,
disinfection, di ba po?
yes. So
Ayan.
wala tayo, praise God, wala
And
tayong problem po doon.
oo nga ma'am, maganda nga ngayon, unlike nung 2019, meron tayong mga El Nino issues. Pagpasok ng
Yes.
2020 up to now, maganda naman yung estado ng water. How to involve, ma'am, the women, especially the plain housewife and the out of school youth sa fire prevention uh, na fire prevention projects or awareness na ginagawa ng BFP.
So, Miss Kyle, let me repeat your question kasi nawawala ka ng konti kanina, no? So, as I caught it, yung question mo is how to involve our housewives and out of school youth in engaging in our fire prevention activities, no? So as what I've mentioned also a while ago, we are launching now as a national event, no, yung ating Uplan Ligtas na Pamayanan, no? In the Uplan Ligtas na Pamayanan, we are encouraging and we are empowering those people who are left in their residences, who are left in the community, you know, those who have no work, those out of school youth, no? Sorry. In fact, all sectors doon sa ating community who are able-bodied to be a part of our prevention program against the threat of fire, no? So we organize them. The Bureau of Fire Protection has sabay-sabay, no? We conducted our organizing program by proceeding to the area of their responsibility in any locality, no, throughout the country. At sabay-sabay namin na ini-educate yung public how to prepare, how to make their family and their neighborhood secure from the threat of fire, no? What they can do in their own capability. Halimbawa, sa isang family dwelling, no, mahirap lang tayo at wala kayong pambili ng fire extinguisher kasi medyo may kamahalan ng fire extinguisher. Kung hindi ma-afford natin, we encourage those family dwelling to prepare something. Halimbawa, there is a readily available pail of water, or a drum or a container of water, no? Then meron tayong prepared na mga sands, no? Sack of sand dyan in case na may mga sunog, pwede natin itong gamitin to extinguish the fire. And also, we have to be aware also of the risk in our surroundings. Halimbawa, yung pagluluto natin, kailangan na pag nasunog yung nagliliyab na oil, huwag mo yung buhusan ng tubig. Huwag mo yung itapon doon sa dingding para mawala kasi lalo yung lalaki. Dapat tabunan yon ng covering or any covering so that oxygen will be dissipated at maputol yung continuous burning of yung sa ating mga kalan o mga cooking gadgets, utensils, no? Then also yung ating mga electrical connections, yung ating mga appliances, yung mga bata natin naglalaro ng posporo. So we reminded them regularly And then the most important thing there is that we organize them by becoming fire volunteer groups, no? Parang we organize them as fire volunteer organization so that kung may mangyaring emergency, a certain number of the community will respond as immediate firefighters in the community. Halimbawa, may sisigaw ng sunog. Of course, you have to alarm the neighborhood kung may nangyaring sunog sa inyong individual dwellings. Pag may sumigaw, so people from the community will respond immediately prior to the coming of the actual firefighting equipment of the Bureau of Fire Protection. Because there are some parts of the country na wala pa po tayong mga mga fire trucks and mga fire stations. So if the fire trucks from neighboring municipalities or cities will arrive, sometimes it takes hours. So ubos na yung bahay nyo, hindi pa nakarating yung mga bumbero, yung ating mga inter-island local government units, no? Ang hirap respondihan. So we have
magmalalayo ma'am.
Oo, opo, lalo na may mga barriers pa in responding and bringing the equipment of the Bureau of Fire Protection on that incident area. So we empowered every Filipino citizen na what to do in case of fire. Unang-una yung pagbabantay nyo in your own environment. Then also what's your neighbor's safety. No? So inorganize siya ng Bureau of Fire Protection in order to support at mabawasan talaga to zero the incident, the destruction caused by fire.
So yun nga ma'am, so we encourage every Filipino, hindi lang kumaga yung fire prevention, not only the role of the FP but also kahit ordinaryong mamamayang Pilipino, kailangan marunong din silang protektahan yung kanilang sarili laban so at ang anumang mga sakuna. Opo, ayan. Ayan ma'am, maraming salamat po sa inyong pag-unlak sa amin. Ayan. At bilang tapos sa ating programa, tawagan ko po ang Shrine Curator ng Museo El Deposito, Mr. Jonel Birabusa.
Okay. So again, good afternoon to everyone. So on behalf of the National Historical Commission of the Philippines Museo El Deposito, we would like to thank you all for supporting our program and participating in our last leg of the Kilapsaw 3.0, Women and Water. So this series will not be possible, of course, without the support of the management of the National Historical Commission of the Philippines, headed by our chairman, Dr. Rene Escalante. We also would like to thank, of course, our OIC Executive Director, Ma'am Carminda Arevalo, and our OIC Deputy Executive Director, Mr. Alvin Alcid. We also would like to thank, of course, our Chief of the Historic Sites and Education Division, Ms. Gina Sibatuhan, our Supervising Historic Sites Development Officer, Mr. Brian Paraiso, and of course, our colleagues from the National Historical Commission of the Philippines, history museums from the parts of Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Particularly our colleagues from the Museo ng Katipunan, Ms. Zenaida Gonzaga, and Museo ng Libingan sa Ilalim ng Lupa ng Nagcarlan, Ms. Sara Estubo, for assisting us in this program. Of course, we would like to thank our speaker for today, Senior Superintendent ALMA Abakahin. Ma'am, thank you very much for gracing our event. Thank you for accepting our invitation for this program. And of course, we would like to thank as well the whole management of the Bureau of Fire Protection for allowing Ma'am ALMA Abakahin to join us in this program. So truly, women plays a big role in environment protection, water sustainability, and fire prevention. So in the past lectures, we have seen the importance of women being involved in these various issues. And this program aims actually to promote gender equality in these sectors. So with this, we hope that our program, the word Kilapsaw, it's actually a Tagalog word that means ripple. So we hope that this program made a ripple effect to our viewers in order to inspire and empower women to be agents of change in the fields of environment protection, water sustainability, and fire prevention. So again, on behalf of our museum, maraming salamat po. So I hope you will join us again next year for our next webinar series for the Kilapsaw 4. We'll be in our 4th year next year. So this is actually an annual event of ours to promote history, water sanitation, and education. So again, maraming salamat po. So before we leave the Facebook Live, I would like to ask everyone to please answer our evaluation forms for you to receive a certificate of participation for the said program. Muli, again, maraming salamat po, and I hope you join us again in our upcoming online events here at the NHCP Museo El Deposito. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you also to my colleagues for letting me use their photos without their